I say that because somebody's just come to the door to ask who we were. With a bit of luck, we've got another new member coming. Right. As Deputy Chair, I'm standing in for Jan Tracy, who's away at present. But before we turn to tonight's talk, I've just a couple of notices. The Stratford Heritage Exhibition opens for its second year on Thursday of this week. Once again, it'll be in Harvard House. Once again, it'll be free, but there are new exhibits and new displays. So I do hope you'll come along, because last year we had 7,500 visitors, and we're hoping to exceed that this year. If you're interested in volunteering, and we're always welcoming new volunteers. If you like to get onto the Stratford Society what is it, Jonathan, you said?
Website, just on the website.
On the website, get onto us at gmail.com for the attention of Ellie Stevenson, and she will enroll you as a volunteer. Thank you very much. And our next meeting will be on Monday, the 20th of July, when Stratford's MP, Manuela Patagella, will come to speak to us about her first 2 years in the role. I've heard her speak at the Shakespeare Club, and she was a lively and engaging speaker, so she really will be worth listening to. And now I think we can turn to our speaker tonight, who's going to be talking about the Attic Theatre and its move to the Rother Street Arts House. So may I please ask you to welcome John Robert Partridge.
Thank you very much. So it's lovely to be here to chat to you all. So yeah, I'm here to talk about Rother Street Arts House and the Attic Theatre. So I'll tell you a little bit about me if you don't know me or my wife. So I just realised when I was putting the slideshow presentation together earlier on, I'm wearing the same jacket. I do have my this is myself and my wife Catherine. So we are Stratford locals. We have been for many years. I actually attended Stratford College here many years ago, and we've got two little girls who we live out in Bidford now. And we have been working together in a partnership running some form of theatre company or production company for around 18 years in and around Stratford-upon-Avon, taking things up to Edinburgh and abroad and various other things in between. So Stratford is very much in our blood. And it actually all started 18 years ago when we both left drama school, and like every other drama school student that comes out, we found ourselves in the wonderful realm of unemployment. And it was actually when we were sitting in Stratford Park. I was sitting on a bench. I won't say I was crying, but I was crying because I had no work. And Catherine came up with the idea of why don't we just put on a show? Let's put on a show just for our own creative fun, and also maybe give work to people who are just like us, who don't have work, who are working professionals in the industry, actors, directors, designers, all sorts of people. And we just started off on that idea, and we were walking around Stratford thinking about what we could do, and we popped into a pub to have a drink. And that pub was Cox's Yard, and we were just having a little drink in there. And then the manager at the time walked over to us, and they said, "I couldn't help overhearing that you like theatre." And we said, "Yeah, we do." And they said, "Are you aware we have a theatre here upstairs?" And we said, "Oh yes, yeah, the loft upstairs where you do all the live music." He said, "No, there's a theatre in the other building across the road." At which point we thought, "Oh, that's very exciting." We went upstairs to have a look, and instantly we fell in love with the place. And the man said, "Look, we're not using it. Would you be interested in putting your show on here?" And we said, yeah, sure, we'll put the show on. We put the show on. It went really well. And the man said, "That was quite fun. Do you want to stay?" That was 18 years ago, and we're still there. So if you've not been to the Attic before, or even if you have, so the Attic is probably one of the most distinctive buildings in Stratford. The old timber yard The attic itself is actually still has all the original timbers in there from the 1700s, 1800s, and they're all visible in the theatre space itself, which gives the attic a really unusual feel. And the audiences absolutely love coming along to see the work we do there. We do have a couple of ghosts living in there, if that is to be believed, but they seem to enjoy what we do as well. So I say we've been there since 2009. We are Tread the Boards Theatre Company, is our production company name. And we took over the disused studio space at Cox's Yard. We also took over the studio spaces they have there, which many of you may remember prior to that. Cox's Yard was one of many things, a waxwork museum. So the rooms that were the waxwork museum, they're now our auditorium and our dressing rooms for our actors, and also the areas where we make set and props as well. One of the best things about the attic, and one of the most unusual things, is how close it is to the audience. How close I am to you now is probably as close as you are in there. So we only have 3 rows. We only see 80 people in there. So you're very, very close. So lots of people who visit the attic often say they feel like they're on the stage with the actors, and it's very immersive. And it's something that we've really tried to work with, try to bring the plays to the audience, and it gives the audience a very, very different flavour, a great intimacy with our work, unlike some larger theatres in the town. Yeah. It's a very, very different offering to what you'll get here at the attic. And we're known for lots of different things. We do Shakespeare, but we only do that once a year around Shakespeare's birthday. We do lots of other things as well. So we do classics, we do family theatre, we also do bits of new writing and experimental work as well, which is great fun. Last year we did a production of the complete works of Jane Austen, which many people thought was going to be a very straight-laced, serious interpretation of Jane Austen. Those people were very sadly disappointed, but everyone else thoroughly enjoyed it. The one thing that we've always kept up, even over those 18 years, when we originally started the attic, it was about giving opportunity to people that hadn't been given that opportunity. And even today, that's what we do. So Catherine and myself, we graduated from the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire. So I make it part of my mission that for every single production that we do, we always give a role to someone who's coming out of a drama school, to give them that first role, because getting into the acting industry, it is incredibly difficult. The world as it is at the moment, it's even more difficult. And actually, for me, I remember sitting on that bench 18 years ago, feeling worthless. And I don't want anyone else to feel what I felt. I want to give that opportunity to people. So it's something that we still do even today, giving opportunity to actors, to directors, and to various different designers and creatives. We've gone through a lot over the years. So we've survived 2 major floods. The great thing about the attic is it's up high. The problem is trying to access it. Last year, was it last year? Or the year before, we were told to get down to the attic very urgently, because had we not got there within the hour, we would not have been able to access any of our pantomime costumes. And like most theatres around the country, pantomime is that show that normally keeps afloat the theatre for most of the year. So we were desperate to get the show on. Luckily, we had some lovely people over at the Bear Pit Theatre that said, come over here, do the show here for a week. So we managed to save all the set and costumes and get over there. We also very famously delivered a drive-in pantomime during the days of COVID, which feels like ages ago and only yesterday. So we did a production of Cinderella on the back of a lorry. And we did it in all weathers. We did it on Christmas Eve when it was -4 outside, and we had a live musician playing the keyboard with his gloves on. And even then, we were performing on the Stratford racecourse and it flooded. We seemed to be followed by water wherever we go. And we had to rescue the bus and all the props, and we were able to move to the Stratford Parkway. And we had everybody sitting in their cars, beeping their horns when they liked something. And when we all turned to the audience and said, which way did he go? They all used their indicators. which was great fun. So something about the attic that we always have been is we've always tried to be very resourceful. And I know it's a very age-old adage, which everybody's heard of the show must go on. But that is something that we pride ourselves on, is that we try not to be beaten in spite of all the elements. So the Attic Theatre's impact on the Stratford community, something that we've really enjoyed over the last 18 years. We've just done continuous programming. So unlike a lot of theatres that do a lot of, they welcome other productions in, we are a almost 100% producing in-house company. So to date, we have done more than 180 productions in those 18 years, averaging about 10 shows a year. Using again local actors and creatives, we've managed to assemble a loyal audience base. We do have a bit of a reputation for punching above our weight artistically. Obviously, our budget is quite minimal. So for us, it's all about the show, the characters, the relationships. We recently did Hamlet with no set, and it was probably one of the best things we've ever done. The great thing about the Attic is that, the astounding thing about the Attic really is that we've been very lucky that over the years we've received small grants from some of the local councillors, which has been really, really helpful to us in various things like getting new up-to-date lighting equipment to help us out during COVID, when obviously paying the bills was somewhat of an issue. But we have never gained any form of large-scale funding from National Lottery, English Heritage, nothing like that. So we've been purely reliant on private donations, word of mouth, and ultimately having incredibly high artistic value, which then spreads the word among the people of Stratford, and people come and put their bums on the seats and pay their money, which is ultimately how we've made it through 18 years. And the legacy that we've created has kind of directed us directly into the Rother Street Arts House takeover. We were having a drink in Cox's Yard. It all seems to start that way. Obviously, we do lots of other things as well. And we heard that the former Stratford Playhouse was available for tender, and we thought we would put in for it. The tender process started in January 2025. To say it was rigorous would be putting it mildly. It was a very, very difficult process, very challenging, and we were incredibly fortunate, very lucky to actually have been given the keys in July, so it's just coming up on a year. But we weren't able to actually move into the building for various reasons until October last year, and then we officially opened our doors on 31st of January this year. As a charitable organisation. So Rother Street Arts House is a fully fledged charity, and it's trying to transform that building into a community-powered arts hub. One of the biggest things that I'm a huge champion of, as I say, I'm a Stratford boy, I grew up here. I remember going to the old Civic Hall to a roller disco. I remember watching Kes do Canterbury Tales in there in the round. The one thing that always has stuck home with me is that it is a community hub. It's somewhere that the community should be using, and events that are put on in there should be for the community primarily. So when we were putting our bid together, that was a large portion of what we wanted to do with the Arts House. Probably before anybody asked the question, which obviously I'll take questions later, but one of the first questions people say is, why did you call it that? Literally, I was in London and I walked down past Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. I thought, how does everybody know where the Theatre Royal is? It's on Drury Lane. So, well, where's Rother Street Arts House? It's on Rother Street. So I thought that's a nice, easy fix. Now, the building itself, I found fascinating. Again, I've lived here all my life, and I always just walked past it and thought, oh, it's the Civic Hall. I don't know anything about it. And it has been fascinating, to be honest. And we've worked with Escape Community Arts and also a local historian called Martin Kenny, who's been invaluable, both organisations, in helping us understand the history of the building. Originally starting in the 1830s as a private residence, as two separate villas. Something that's only recently come to light is that for a couple of years it became a needle factory, and before it became Forge Mill in Redditch, this building was the largest manufacturer of needles in the world. And we didn't even know. That's fascinating. Going down into the basement is harrowing, but you can see all the little workshops and things where people used to work. You can see the gratings coming through, the light gratings where people would have sat making the needles, so they would have got enough light from outside. It's really interesting. It only was a needle factory for about a year and a half, 2 years. Then it became a convalescence home, eventually a hospital. It then became a maternity hospital. And then finally it became the events venue in 1985 when it was called the Civic Hall. In this particular area of the history, the convalescence home through to the maternity hospital, it's got such a rich history, and lots of people in Stratford who I'd never heard of as a local. So Emily Minay, who was the one of the head nurses in this building, was responsible for so many wonderful things that happened in Stratford. And the only sign of her in Stratford is a very small part of a stained glass window in Holy Trinity Church. There's no mention of her really anywhere. So when we opened the Arts House, we actually put a whole exhibition in dedicated to her. Because it's one of those, you know, we all know what Stratford is famous for. Shakespeare does take quite a lot of the press, but people like Emily Minay, who really pioneered this building, their voice should be heard as well as everybody else. So it's a really, really interesting history. If you don't know about it, do pop over to the Arts House, because the exhibition, there's some really, really interesting things in there. One of the things we're hoping to do moving into 2027 is actually develop a play about Emily Minay and the hospital. So it should be quite exciting. So why does this building matter? Obviously 200 years of community service in various different forms, and now it's that cultural hub, that cultural home. It's a place where generations were born. I've been very fortunate that since we took over, I must have met at least 10 people that say they were born in this building. We've got a cafe inside called Dot's Cafe, named after the first baby who was born when it became a maternity hospital. And when we opened on the 31st of January, Dot actually came along. She said she was only coming though if the press were there, because she wanted a picture in the paper. So we had to make sure the Stratford Herald were there to snap all the pictures. It's a place where people recovered and were cared for, obviously in the convalescence home. It's a place that we now want to dedicate to the creative well-being of the Stratford community. So people can come, they can sit, they can watch, they can enjoy, they can join in, anything they want to do to really get involved in the creativity and the artistic creativity within the building. So it says here, it's a history of care, community and service, and it aligns perfectly with its new purpose. That's what we want to do for the people of Stratford. We want it to be that place that people feel that they want to come to. Our vision, what are we about? So obviously the community shapes the programme. So something we've been doing this year is we put on quite a broad range of events over at the Arts House, from theatre, dance, spoken word, music, visual arts, all sorts, to see what the people of Stratford actually want the Arts House to be. And we've had a really wide variety of feedback, a wide variety of different people coming along to all those different events. We want it to be a place where artists find support and opportunity. That's a big thing, and something that I've actually encountered quite a lot since we've been open, speaking to so many different artists, not just actors, but anybody that is an artist in all different mediums. They want the opportunity to display their work or to be involved in the work, either as a volunteer or just to have a piece of artwork display that somebody can see. It's something that the people of Stratford really, really, really want, and it's something we want to help with. And we want it to be a place where families feel welcome. Something else we've done with our research is we've actually found that the building hasn't necessarily been a place where families would go. There's not been a huge amount of family activity. apart from obviously the yearly pantomime. So that's something we want to address as well. We want to drive families into the venue to put on. We've been putting on free events for families. Earlier on this year, we did a whole day that was completely free, with a professional magician, storytelling, crafting. We did a few things on the birthday celebrations as well, just to try and really help those families. And we were really busy. So the families are starting to realise that the building is here and it's a safe place and a creative space for them to be. It's a place where local stories are celebrated. Going back to the idea of Emily Minay, we want to celebrate that story. It's not just about what everybody knows Stratford to be. It is about those untold stories, not just about the famous people, but about the people that perhaps you don't necessarily know about. So I don't know if any of you will be familiar with the name Doug Armstrong, but Doug was a huge pioneer of community work in Stratford. He used to co-run street arts, and sadly Doug is no longer with us. So one of the things we wanted to do for him, for his family, and to honour his legacy. Now, I'd never met Doug before, but I met Alison, his wife, and we were all very inspired by the work that Doug did. So the bar is named after him, and up on the bar, pictures of him, artists that he liked. To my better judgment, he was a huge fan of Man United, so we do have Man United memorabilia in there. But all those local stories are really important. And even going back to the days of the Civic Hall, some of the people that used to run that building as well, they're celebrated in the building. Plus, all our dressing rooms are named after the doctors and nurses that are actually working in the convalescent home and the maternity hospital back in the 1890s through to the 1940s. And we want the creativity to be accessible to everyone. So obviously accessibility is a huge point. This is a picture of our grand opening, somewhere in the back there. So our core values, I mean, as I said, the community, it belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to one person. We are merely custodians of the building. We want that building to be better off when we leave than when we found it. That's ultimately what we want to do. Creativity, a space for making and imagining. Accessibility, removing those barriers. Everybody can just come in, and trying to give everybody that right of way just to come in and enjoy it whatever way they want to. Obviously, local talent, I've already mentioned, supporting Stratford artists, and sustainability, building a long-term cultural future. Big thing again, growing up in Stratford, is that building over the years has undergone many transformations. It's had many names, and something for us is so important that there's always such a huge outcry from people in Stratford when that particular building has closed or there's been it's been in danger of closing, and that's something that we want to avoid in the future. We want to make sure that that building survives for everybody. Yeah. So how will we develop over the next 5 years to ensure that long-term sustainability? So obviously expanding the theatre, music, dance and spoken word programming. As I say, this year we've tried lots of things to see what that Stratford audience would like. Now it's that as trying to really define what the audiences want. Launch artist residencies and mentoring. We've already actually started some of these elements already. So looking at bringing in young people from colleges, universities, where they can work with our marketing team, work with the artistic team like myself, and work with our hospitality team so they can also learn some of those skills. And working with young artists across various different disciplines. Grow the community workshops for all ages. And these aren't just community workshops that we will produce in-house, it's also bringing in community groups that have always had a home at what is now the Arts House. So groups like Stratfast, groups like Stratford Youth Theatre, groups like Stratford Musical Theatre Company, Brook Arts Hub, all those venues, trying to get them in. They can run their workshops because they are a community focus group as well. Restore and improve the building, big thing for us. When we first arrived, there was no furniture in the building at all. the lighting, the soundboard was missing. There were lots of things that had happened to the building. So one of the things we've actually done is we've assessed the building, and we are very quickly, to be fair, restoring it and improving it and making it a great space for the public to use and for visiting companies to use as well. We want to build partnerships with schools and local groups. That is never going to stop. When you know, living in Stratford for so long, running the attic for 18 years, I thought I knew a lot of the community groups. I didn't by quite a considerable distance. And then I invited some of the community groups to come along to the Arts House opening. I was absolutely amazed by the sheer amount of community groups that there are in this town. I lost count at somewhere around 93, 94 different community groups. It's probably way more than that. And we will continue to try and build those relationships and invite all those groups into the Arts House so that they can use the facilities. And as I said before, create a sustainable financial model. That's a huge part of it. One of the things we wanted to do is make the Arts House a charity so that, you know, we have a board of trustees. We're also answerable to the Charity Commission. So it is in our ethos, it is in our best interest to make sure that that building is used for the right reasons and in the right way. So a few upcoming projects to tell you about. So we will be producing new in-house productions at the Arts House. Part of our charitable commission status is that we will produce work that is of family interest and also of high artistic value, which is very, very interesting. And we'll also obviously be continuing our work down at the attic as well. I'm artistic director of both buildings, but the companies are very separate. We'll be developing our youth and family workshop offer, as I mentioned, artist development programs, which I mentioned as well, seasonal festivals and community celebrations. So we're working very closely with some community groups. We're also working with the BID as well, looking at putting together some exciting ideas for festivals for next year, the year after, 5, 10 years time, which will be very exciting as well. And talks for that are ongoing. Looking at volunteer training and expansion. So as you say, volunteers are worth their weight in gold. I mean, we've got a wonderful team of volunteers over at the Arts House who are absolutely phenomenal. I always feel safer when the volunteers are there. When they're not there, I worry. They're absolutely fantastic, and we want to really improve their time as well. So we put on 4 volunteer events per year. So a chance for volunteers to come along with an event that's put on just for them, and they can bring their families. It might be a barbecue, it might be dinner, we might have a special talk, anything like that, just to say thank you for giving up their time, because without them we wouldn't be able to function. And we're looking also at cross-venue collaborations as well. So as I say, working with those community groups, but also working with other businesses in town as well. So for example, the Bear Pit, we really want to do some co-productions with the Bear Pit using professional actors, community actors, actors from the local schools as well, and really try and make it, I keep saying it, that cultural hub of all those different groups put together and working together. So a few highlights at the attic. So our first play that we're doing at the moment is Shakers Under New Management. So Shakers, originally written by John Godber in the 1990s. It's had a bit of a shake-up, and it's a new version of the play written by him under new management. That's on next month. We've got a production of The Wind in the Willows in August, Wuthering Heights, but the real version of it, not the Margot Robbie version. Just that story is not romantic. Then we've got Sweeney Todd and the String of Pearls, not the musical, it's the one adapted directly from the Penny Dreadful. And then we've got Jack and the Beanstalk, the adults only pantomime. I wanted to put adults only in broad capitals because we have had parents turning up with their children to this. You don't want to bring your children to this pantomime, but it's always very, very popular. So those are our highlights for this year, coming up down at the attic. At the Arts House, we've got a real varied range for the autumn and winter season. The first one on the list, we've got Doug's Bar Sessions. Now, Doug is Doug Armstrong. One of the things he was a huge pioneer for was live music. If you've heard of the band The Wildflowers, they actually started life at the Arts House under Doug's influence, as it were. And one of the bands, Jack Blackman, it was his idea to actually reignite those acoustic evenings. So Doug's Bar Sessions are where Jack invites 2 or 3 different musicians who write their own music, sing their own music, to come along. It's a very low-key evening, very, very relaxed, and they just play in the bar. It's a really lovely evening. We've got a flamenco group coming in next week, Flamenco Express. This particular gentleman, I understand, is a very famous flamenco dancer, and it should be quite exciting. We've got spoken word open mic nights, which are put on by Lucy Parrott. Lucy used to run those events out of the Boston Tea Party, and now that's moved over to the Arts House as well. We've got a tribute band to the Beatles, The Magic of the Beatles. That's in July. We've got the Roy Orbison story with Barry Steele, which should be quite popular. We've got Tracy Borman, Tudors on tour in October. The Jazz Club, again, is something that was a staple in that building for years and years and years, and it's something we wanted to have back. So every second Wednesday of the month, we have the Jazz Club in, and it's always a different band every month. We've got SMTC in November performing the Great British Bake Off, the musical, which should be great fun. We've got A Christmas Carol, but it's a radio play reading, and it stars the Doctors from Doctor Who, Tom and Colin Baker, which should be quite exciting, with Sophie Aldred, who, if anybody is a fan of Doctor Who, she played Ace in the 1980s Doctor Who opposite Sylvester McCoy. And then we've got Close Up Comedy, which is our regular 2-monthly comedy show that we have on there, which started way back in October when we got the keys. The other thing that we're doing as well, as I say, is in-house productions. Our in-house productions are part of our charitable status in that they have to be of high artistic value or to appeal to families. So our first thing was actually Treasure Island, which we did in the May half term. This is our August offering, Pygmalion and the Importance of Being Earnest. High artistic value shows. We're working with the Shaw 2020 Theatre Company, which are directly associated with the Shaw Society. They often perform at Shaw's Corner down in London. So the artistic director of Shaw 2020 will be directing Pygmalion. It's the same cast in both plays, so it's a rep season. And during the run, we've got a free question and answer session with author and actor Neil Titley. We also have the president of the Oscar Wilde Society and the editor of the Shavian magazine, alongside the artistic director of the Shaw 2020 company. That talk is completely free. And we're also going to have fun wraparound events to run alongside those shows. So Pygmalion, if you don't know what that is, if you know My Fair Lady, it's what My Fair Lady is based on. So when you arrive, there will be a flower seller outside if you want to buy any flowers. Henry Higgins will be giving elocution lessons as part of our wraparound workshop. And there will also be cream teas available to come to see the importance of being earnest. And you're able to come and see both on the same day if you really want to. So that's one of our in-house offerings. And then this one is the return of the pantomime. So this year we've got Robin Hood, the pantomime. It will be a fully fledged professional production with some of our actors that we used to have down at the attic. We also run the pantomime at the Cider Mill Theatre in Chipping Camden as well. And now we're setting up the Arts House one to be the in-house company. So yeah, Robin Hood, the pantomime, should be lots and lots of fun. I've already read the script, it's very silly.
Good.
So this is Dot, by the way, with Catherine. That was her smiling for the Stratford Herald photographer. So why getting involved matters. It keeps the arts alive and accessible, ultimately. If people don't know about it, they're not going to come. So it's about supporting local artists, young people, protecting and revitalising that historic building. As I say, it's absolutely blown my mind, the history in that building. We want to build that creative community and ensure the venue thrives for the next generation. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. As I say, we're mere custodians of the building. It's our job to look after it and make it better so that when we leave, which hopefully we won't, but we leave it in a better place than when we found it. That's absolutely key for us. So ways to get involved. We are always looking for volunteers, working front of house, watching shows, working on workshops, joining some of our workshops as well. If any of you do fancy an elocution lesson, feel free to come along. Chances to audition and perform. Earlier on this year, we had some open auditions for our pantomime season, and some of those were very, very successful, and several local people have been cast in some of our work, which is exciting. You can partner with us. Obviously, local businesses can work with us. You can donate and sponsor to the Arts House, but probably the bottom one is the most important one: spread the word. The building was closed for about 18 months, so people have forgotten that it's even there. People walk past it. We even get it today. We get it down at the attic all the time, where people walk past and say, "I didn't know there was a theatre here," even after 18 years. And now at the Arts House, we're finding exactly the same thing. People walking past saying, "I didn't know there was a theatre in here." And the best way of getting those people in that door is to spread the word. So if you've not been, do pop in. You can just pop in for a cup of tea or just have a little nose around. You're very welcome to. So the future that we're hoping to build there at the Arts House, it's where creativity is part of your everyday life. You can pop in and you can see all forms of artistic talents on show. Make the arts accessible to everyone. Local talent is nurtured, and the community has a cultural home that they can be proud of. And that's something that myself and Catherine are hugely passionate about. We've been passionate about it for 18 years, and that's not going to change anytime soon. We're huge fans of Stratford. We love the people, we love the community, and we love performing. We love having the people of Stratford see our work, and we love also publicising other artists' work as well. It's really, really wonderful to do. Thank you. That's the end of me talking by quite a lot. I'm going to have a quick drink of my beer. But did anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to ask me? Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. No, it's all very interesting. So thinking about the history of the Arts House, I think you admitted I think it's 30 odd years that it was council offices, and especially the last 10 years when it's very exciting Treasurer's Department offices. So we obviously don't want to miss out on those.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But interestingly, though, just be interested how you actually balance yourself as, obviously as an actor, and we still see you performing at the attic.
I do.
See, you're still there managing and directing all this, and how do where does your heart lie? How do you manage to do both?
Oh, great question. I don't sleep very much. I've also got two daughters, one's 7 and one's 4. So at the attic, we do have quite a large range of directors that end up coming in. So I directed Hamlet earlier on this year. I'm now not directing there until October. So I'm taking time out to really focus on the Arts House. At the Arts House as well, we've got, unlike at the attic where it's me and about 3 other people, at the Arts House we've got a team of about 8. I'm not even in charge, which is really nice. We have a CEO and a board of trustees over me. So a lot of them are making the decisions. Whereas for me, my main area is to look at the artistic future of the building. So really to plan all those artistic, culturally beneficial events that are going on, which ties in directly with what I do at the attic. Whereas at the attic, I pre-planned the attic season about 3 years ago. So I tend to plan 5 years in advance for everything. So I know now what we're doing in about 5 years' time. Hopefully. But I do try and make it a balance, and at times it can be stressful, but it's a good stress. It's fun, and I've got a fantastic team of people around me that are able to do a lot of those jobs. It's definitely a challenge, but it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. And my children are they consider themselves staff. My youngest daughter even knows how to make a prop table and put props and write on them and everything. So it's very much a family-run business. So obviously there's my wife, myself. If you've been to the attic before, you may be very familiar with my father-in-law, who runs the door. There we go. And my dad used to run the box office, and my mum tends to do the washing, the actors. So it's we've got a very good group of people around. But yes, I'm learning how to balance it, but also I'm not used to this, but I'm learning how to give jobs to other people and trusting those people will do the job, which is a valuable learning curve. But yeah.
Yes, no, how do you advertise?
How do we advertise?
That's a critical.
Great question. So we've got, first of all, we've got a huge social following in terms of online, Facebook and Instagram. We also have a physical brochure which covers 6 months per year.
And how do you?
So you can get that online, but you can also pop into the Arts House. My colleague wandered over with a few, so there are some over on the table if you want to grab them on the way out.
Because the people are looking ahead, it's quite nice to have.
It is. So the new brochure for until February will be coming out at the end of July.
Yes.
So there'll be lots and lots and lots of things in there that you'll be able to keep an eye on. And also we advertise in the local paper, online. A lot of the online reviews will do events for us as well and put special advertising in for us. So we're growing it slowly but surely, but we do have physical advertising because I know everybody loves a flyer. Everybody likes a brochure. That's the one thing I said. Our head of marketing has come from a very social media background. She said, "Oh no, we've got to go paperless." I went, "Oh no, Stratford, you got to have a brochure. You got to have a thing. Everybody likes a thing." So no, I'm all about a brochure.
Because people do plan.
They do.
They
do.
Particularly Panto.
Oh yes.
They're so popular.
Yeah, it is. Well, the Panto's been on sale since January, so yeah, we want to jump straight in there. But yes, yeah, do grab the brochure on your way in.
I'm aware that young people instructors say there's never very much for young people to do.
Yes.
You'll get the confident ones coming along, presumably. Have you any sort of strategies for getting hold of the kids who would do well, but actually are either too shy or just don't get involved with stuff like this?
We've got some really interesting ideas actually. So one of the things that we've been chatting to Stratford Youth Theatre about is obviously there's a lot of children that love acting and they love singing, but there's not anywhere to go for those people that love doing a prop table or learning how to change lighting or how to be a sound designer and things like that. So the thing that we're launching in 2027 is a technical youth theatre. So a place where kids that don't want to be on stage, they want to do those other jobs, they can go and learn from our professionals. We're also looking at running Dungeons and Dragons evenings, which I've never played in my life, but I understand it's a huge thing. And so we're looking at running things like that. At the moment, we're about to start advertising for more trustees, and one of those trustees' positions is going to be for someone between 16 and 25, so that they can speak for those people, those young people, and actually help us steer ourselves to make offers for those young people.
Might you think about doing apprenticeships?
Absolutely, absolutely. So at the moment, we're actually looking at doing apprenticeships in technical elements, in marketing, but also in artistic as well. So apprenticeships are very much on our radar at the moment. So yeah, lots of apprenticeships and mentoring schemes. Yes, sir.
I may say so. You have a very wonderful, versatile space there. And,
Yes, very
and
much.
your enthusiasm for it is inspirational. It's purposely. And we're all sort of wrapped in anticipation about what you'll get to do.
Thank you.
The one question I was going to ask you though is whether you think there are any limitations to that versatility. And the reason that I'm asking that question is that there has been quite a lot in the past of symphonic music, chamber music, classical music of all shapes and varieties. And I haven't seen anything in your prospectus for it. What's your thinking about
Well,
that?
I mean, I suppose I could give you an exclusive now if you want. The orchestra of Swan are returning. So they will be given their first performance in November this year, which will be available in the book when it comes out. So they are coming back. We've also had the Hans Zimmer versus John Williams orchestra come in, where they played all the music with the huge orchestra there. We've got the Stratford Symphony Orchestra coming. They've got 2 events in 2027. And the Orchestra of the Swan are looking to do 2 or 3 concerts a year at the Arts House, which is lovely. I'd say it's a very versatile space. It has so many possibilities. It also has almost an infinite amount of possibilities that can be almost overwhelming at times. So we're also looking at ways that we can monopolise the space to make it financially viable as well. So, for example, Pygmalion and the Importance of Being Earnest, we know, unless we have Ian McKellen in it, again, spoiler, he's not in it, he's very busy. But if because we haven't got any of those big names in it, we can't imagine to fill 411 seats, which is how many it seats. So what we're doing is we're bringing the stage and turning it into joining the hexagonal element of the building and making it 189 seats. So just using the tiered section at the back and having the stage on the floor with the front. There's also a lot of sound issues in that building as well. So that's something that we're looking to improve on as well, looking at whether we can add in acoustic panelling and things like that, which will actually enable more events to be done rather than having this sort of black hole where you talk in one direction and nobody can hear you. But we are very, as I say, there's an infinite amount of possibilities, but in terms of orchestras and that very classical music element, that is definitely coming back at the end of this year, but through 2027 and beyond. All those things have already been booked in. So there you go, exclusive.
They used to have tea dances there.
They did used to have tea dances.
But
something again, we 2027
Yeah.
on the list of tea dances. We're also hoping to have a Regency ball at some point, which again is very, very popular. And you know, it's a wonderful building. They used to have roller discos when I was growing up as well. So the one thing that we found, which has surprised me, is the seating unit doesn't work. It used to be able to move backwards and forwards and out of the way. It doesn't do that anymore. So we're unable to move it out of the way and have everybody rolling around on rollerblades. But I'm sure we'll find other things that we can do. But no, tea dances is definitely something that we have on our list.
both doors around.
Any other questions?
Can I ask how you see?
Oh, great question. I mean,
Where did you go to and which people are they on set? Because you've had some really good stuff on.
yeah. I mean, we've had it's sort of a range. I mean, we've drawn a lot from our own experience and our own contacts. So a lot of the companies that come in, we've got a link to them already. But a lot of it has been people contacting us, sending us their videos, and for us, it's about vetting them as well. That, you know, there's nothing worse than getting what looks like an amazing tribute band, and they turn up and they're awful, because there's so many out there. So for us, it's our programming manager Emily, who's also looks after community outreach. She is very careful when she goes through each application. She looks at all the videos, she looks at reviews and feedback and audience comments. And we try and pick them very carefully, but we also try to look at the year and try and make it different. So there's never something on which is the same as something else very close to it. So, you know, we had Queen on last year. We won't have it back for another year. So we're trying to also market it to make sure that we don't create a scarcity in town as well. And that's the other thing we're very conscious of, is making sure that we're not overlapping with other local companies, like the Bear Pit, for example, making sure that, you know, if they've got a play on, we've got a music gig on, so it doesn't, it's a different audience that we're trying to work with. So yeah, we try and plan very, very carefully, but as I say, this year we've tried to make it a very varied programme, just to really see what the Stratford audience is like. Because when we moved in, we didn't actually have any marketing information at all. So our mailing list was zero. So we didn't know who the audiences were for that building, and what they enjoyed, what they went to. So it's been very interesting to chat with people coming in, but also chat with the companies coming in. Earlier this year, we had the Blues Brothers come in, and they said, "Oh yeah, we love coming here because we pack it out every year." I mean, to be fair, it was full. But that's been interesting, as well as listening to the experience of other companies and telling us what they think sells in Stratford, and taking their advice as well. Because again, what you don't know, you don't know. So, you know, we're always very willing to learn and listen to what other people think as well. So yeah, we do try and plan it very, very carefully.
You had a literary festival event there on Friday.
You did.
And is there going to be more opportunities to do further links with the literary festival set up? Because obviously,
Absolutely.
in years gone past, the Arts House was actually the home.
It was. No, we've got a fantastic relationship with Annie that runs the literary festival. So we had Maggie O'Farrell in there on Friday. No, we're definitely looking at developing that relationship. We've got a meeting actually with Annie next week. We shouldn't tell you that, that's not exclusive. But we're definitely looking at booking in other events with the literary festival through the rest of this year, into next year and beyond. So I mean, our main aim is, I suppose, growing up, I always remember the Civic Hall being the place to go for music, for art, for everything. And I think for me, it's putting it back to that. So having the Orchestra of the Swan in situ, having the Literary Festival in situ, having those live bands, having live music, you know, having things like Battle of the Bands, which used to be so big in that building, and it disappeared. So I think for us, it's about making it a happening place again, I guess. But no, the Literary Festival is definitely a relationship we really are working hard to develop and to nurture as best as we can.
Sorry, we coordinate. It's obviously not planned. I'm just going to say, do you plan to have any sort of West End stars, sort of like we had Maria Friedman a few years back?
Yeah.
Was obviously doing a few tryouts before a big gig, but that was amazing to have someone like that.
We're working on it. Again, it's one of those that you often find big celebrities won't come to somewhere until they know it's absolutely established. So, I mean, we've got a local celebrity this year, Carl Loxley. He's going to be back in December. He was on The Voice a few years ago. But we are working on getting celebrities
Again.
Yeah. At the moment, we're getting quite a lot of high-end comedians. So we had Ed Byrne earlier this year. We've got Rich Hall in October. Funnily enough, we have emailed Jasper Carrot back again. But we are looking at all those different people as well. So yeah, it's
now and again.
It's definitely on our radar.
Going to London.
Of course, extortionate.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
I was thinking about the open mic nights, and
Yes.
I always think they're about comedy, but something that I'm very keen to go to, and I know a lot of young people like the poetry slams and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that would be, I mean, you've probably got that in your mix of things, but I know there's a lot of interest in that. It's kind of increasing in popularity, isn't it?
It is.
Well, I imagine that.
No, you're absolutely right. So Lucy Parrott, who's running the spoken word nights,
Oh yes.
So she's doing those every 2 months. And people can come and they can stand there and they can read whatever they want. So they can read poetry, they can read.
So it's kind of opening that up to
Yeah.
whatever's here,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, absolutely.
Giving it a voice.
Absolutely, and also a no judgment.
Yeah.
Where people can stand up and just speak
Doesn't
what they've
matter.
written, it doesn't matter. And we've had loads of different people. We had what was he, a film director that had bought a script and he wasn't sure about, so he said, I'm just going to read you a bit everyone. And it's just lovely to hear. So no, that's definitely something we're looking to develop, and also having regular poetry events as well. So in November last year, we did a Remembrance Day poetry reading, and we're going to do exactly the same this year. So we've got the D-Day Darlings in the afternoon, and then we're doing Remembrance Day poetry reading in the evening on Remembrance Day. So yeah, we're definitely looking to develop that area.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at your energy. I'd like to know what you're on.
No sleep.
Siberian ginseng, I reckon.
Yeah.
Most of these events are in the evening. Do you have programs to open it up in the daytime?
We do. We've been running a Wednesday program, which we're going to switch to a Tuesday, mainly because we know that there's some events on at Holy Trinity Church that people would like to go to. So we're going to switch it to a Tuesday. It's called Time Out Tuesday. It's between 12 and 2 o'clock. And every Tuesday we have a artist performing something. So it could be a singer, a musician, a poet, or a talk. We had a gardening expert come in and do a 2-hour gardening workshop. So that's every Tuesday. We also have a free Rummy Cubs event every month on a Thursday, once a month.
The U3A.
Yes.
And Juliet.
Yeah, Juliet Grundy, yeah, that's right. So we have them coming in as well, but we're definitely looking to, we're open, the cafe is open Tuesday to Saturday. So we're definitely looking to have daytime events on a regular basis as well. The thing for us is we're trying to grow the audience organically as well. What we don't want to do is rush into anything and fill it up with programming, and actually we don't have enough staff or money or resources to do it. So I think we will definitely start to develop it. So the daytime events are already starting to happen, but there will definitely be more, particularly at the end of this year, moving into 2027. But yeah, 100. Our big aim, what we want to do is be open 6 days a week, all day. That's kind of the 5-year plan. Is it?
Closed for cleaning on.
Closed for cleaning, like that.
But you may have thought about this, but are you going to run any workshops or anything for people with special education need?
We are, so we're actually working with iLeap at the moment, and we've got a team working with them about whether we can bring workshops in, or whether they'd be able to run workshops from within the building as well. But again, it's something that we're very, very keen on, to talk about that accessibility offering. So yeah, 100%.
Any other questions? Personally, I'm delighted you've gone back to calling it the Arts House. I thought in a place like Stratford to call it the Playing House was absolutely ridiculous. So that's very good. Well, that was really inspirational and uplifting, wasn't it? Please thank John Ross.